Hey guys, so this is another fan update to the apartment here. This was formerly the spot, well, it's the same spot next to the 38-inch Hunter original, but I've since swapped out this fan, which is the Crosley spinner, for this one. This is an antique Hunter Type 1032 ceiling fan. This is, I believe, the oldest ceiling fan I own as of now. This one's from 1926, according to the data tag, which I will show. That is right up here. So really cool fan. This came from eBay actually, and the price wasn't too bad, so I went and jumped on it. Needed a little bit of TLC here and there, but nothing really too terrible. The fan's original finish is copper oxide, as you can see by the motor housing, canopy, and switch housing. The one big obvious thing that it was, an issue with it when I found it is that the original faceplate had completely broken off. There were like little shards of it left, kind of like where the screws mount. But it just, obviously that was long gone. It seems like that's a pretty common issue with these for whatever reason. I don't think they were made very well because I've seen a lot of these with either broken faceplates or missing or like replacement faceplates. In fact, oftentimes I've seen multiple instances of this kind of faceplate put on there as a replacement. But anyway, this is actually the correct faceplate for it. These one with like the 3 rings are kind of the ones that they would use well into the early 70s, I believe. Well, actually probably about mid 70s, but before they went to the standard 36-inch original one. But this is the predecessor that they used for quite a while. But yeah, this is a really cool fan. Let's see. So I had to do a few things with it. Like I said, the faceplate is not original. This is actually, I believe this came off of another 1032 because it said that there's 1032 is actually stamped into this plate on the other side. So I assume it's actually off of a 1032. Big thanks to Tommy Bodden for that one. He was able to get me a faceplate for this. Canopy's original, motor housing's original, switch housing's original. As you can see, the switch cap on the bottom is actually, I kind of created that. What this actually is it's a plastic generic like plug cap that you can get at Menards. And I just painted it with antique brass spray paint as well as the 2 screws I used to mount it. To give it kind of a just standard switch cap look. When I got this thing, somebody had like kludged a light socket kind of into this hole. I mean, it wasn't even mounted to anything really. It was basically just hanging by the wires. It was kind of ridiculous. So took that off and just went with the switch cap look, which I think looks a lot better. So I'm not 100% sure how this fan looked like when it was factory in terms of finish. Obviously most of it was copper oxide. I don't know what color the blades were originally. All I know is they've been repainted multiple times, as you can kind of see if you look really carefully at the, they've been repainted a couple times. When I found them, they were painted brown, and that paint was probably done quite a while ago. But I went ahead and redid them again in a similar color brown just to kind of match, match. There's a lot of, kind of warm tones in this room, so I figured I would just give it another coat of brown. And the faceplate, I went with antique brass spray paint. The irons had actually already been painted kind of a gold color, so I actually just resprayed those with antique brass spray paint to match that. And like I said, the switch cap and screws are also antique brass. So basically it's kind of like a copper and antique brass finish. I mean, more or less like a brown and brass kind of, which is, I thought would be a nice complement to that one. But yeah, I'd assume the bottom was the, faceplate was probably copper oxide. The irons were probably copper oxide. I have no clue what these would have been. So, but I think it looks fine with the brown. And if you can't tell, these are actually metal blades. This is, they're ones that have like a slight curvature to them as well. So pretty cool. Obviously the Hunter fob was added by me. That's definitely not original. And also the pull chain was added by me as well. This fan seems to have been single speed all of its life because there's no transformer or like speed coil mounted to it anywhere. And I don't even really see provisions for it. So I assume this was always just a single speed fan unless you had some sort of external speed control. I'm not sure exactly how it would have been originally switched. I assume that there was probably a snap switch or a rotary switch of some sort in here. Possibly like a level lever out of maybe one of these. But I actually suspect that and that, there's two threaded holes on the side of the switch housing. I actually suspect that would have been for a 2-arm integrated light kit, if you wanted to have that. And when I found it, they had jerry rigged a light out the bottom, and they switched that light with like a piece of lamp cord and an egg like type toggle switch dangling out that hole. So that cap I actually added. This one I believe that's probably original to the fan, or at least it's been in there a very long time. So, but yeah, those are both covered for now. If I ever needed a light, obviously I think the 2-arm thing would look pretty cool. But just given this installation, I don't really need lights, so I want the switch cap look. But yeah, this pull chain was added by me. It's just a single on off, and I just drilled a new hole in the side of the switch housing for that. I wanted to put it out one of these so I wouldn't have to drill anything, but unfortunately the pull chain mechanism itself sits too close to the oil cup, so you can't actually screw it in. So had to drop it down a little bit, and so I just went with that right there, and it actually worked out pretty well. The 2 screws going through the switch cap there actually go all the way up to about halfway through the switch housing. They're very long screws, and I utilized those 2 threaded holes that would have been used for a like the snap switch or whatever mechanical type switch that was in here. So I just utilized those 2 threaded holes and capped it off the bottom, so it actually is a nice clean look. And yeah, so Hunter fob's obviously a lot newer than the fan, but I just, you guys know I like my manufacturer fobs, so I got one. So yeah, like I was saying, it is single speed. So what I ended up doing was I put it on a variable speed control, which is right here. Just your standard solid state. This fan, originally I was going to put them both on the same solid state. This one is kind of noisy on solid state, and honestly its speed range is noticeably different than this one in terms of where it's at where it's set on the dial. So I actually opted to just make this one 120 volts all the time. So this one just has its 2 factory speeds, because this one is a 2-speed. So, and it's worked out fine. It's not a super powerful fan anyway, so just having it on the lower setting most of the time works out just fine. But this one now has a full range of speeds based on the solid state. So it is a little finicky at times when you first start it up, so you have to kind of let it wind up a little bit, and then you can go to a lower speed. Sometimes that just happens with shaded pull. Okay, so that is all the way down on the variable speed. But yeah, it's a 32-inch, which is pretty cool. It definitely looks smaller. It's interesting because they're both like small originals basically, but yet that one's a 38 and this is a 32, so, but they complement each other well, I think. Runs really well on solid state. I mean, very little noise whatsoever. Little tiny cyclic hum, but really nothing to worry about. That's a pretty nice low. All right, and then let's go up to more of a kind of, actually I'll go to the setting that's about the same as the original to its right. That's about 1 o'clock on the variable speed control. Ends up being about the same speed as this one. Looks really nice, the speed match there. It's not the most powerful fan at lower speeds, but then again, this fan is kind of designed for high speed, low torque. So it's very fast on the high end, and that's usually where you start feeling the air. But honestly, given its proximity to my chair here, it doesn't, I don't need like an insanely powerful fan on the lower speeds. Usually just a breeze is fine. Yeah, really nice runner. Okay, and then let's go to like a backed off high. It's interesting how, since it's a metal bladed fan, it actually kind of starts sounding like an industrial once it winds up to speed. That kind of like metallic blade chopping that you get. All right, and straight high. Oh yeah, it moves on high. I haven't tacked this one yet. I would suspect it's close to 300. Definitely moving some air on high. And yeah, surprisingly pretty well balanced too. Had to play around with, you know, putting the blades on in a few different orders, but I think this has been the best orientation in terms of balance. All right, and then turn back off. Yeah, I've actually taken this entire fan apart, like, you know, rotor out entirely and cleaned everything out. All the oil channels are nice and clean, and the oil cup is nice and full. But there does still seem to be kind of a persistent stiff spot in this one. And some of it might be electrical even, so I know sometimes shaded pulls like that. So it does occasionally will get a little sticky in the one spot, but you know, otherwise it's really, really smooth. So. Yeah, thing's almost 100 years old. I'm not expecting perfection here. Yeah, like I said, the spin down's fine until it gets close to stopping, and then there'll be kind of like it might stick a little bit. Yeah, so it does that, but it hasn't had any issues starting, so. Oh, and one interesting thing, you might notice there's one oddball screw that's actually completely necessary. Long ago, somebody must have broken that iron right there. As you can kind of see, it's cracked, and they welded it back together somehow, and it's actually pretty stable, I gotta say. Like, you can kind of see the welded material sticking out past it. Well, since that screw hole is now partially full of welding material, you can't use the standard pan head screw. It won't recess into there because of all the extra, you know, filler stuff in there. So I actually had to use a screw that's a larger head, which threads against the outer edge of it, so that way I can still tighten it down. But you know, it's one of those minor things. You're not going to really notice that too much from far away. But I just found that interesting. I don't know how they did it, but it's very solid. So. I'm glad it's holding. All right. So yeah, that's all I got to show on this one. So thanks for watching.